And when I say let's go for it, I'm just allowing the energy to rise up through my body. I'm just allowing that connection. Okay, thank you very much. They come through, they're like a sparkling champagne running through my body. That's really funny. It's like, yeah, as if like it's bubbling away and it's coming in right now. Okay, thank you. Welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, there are many of us here. Yes, we've come straight through this time. How lovely. We put Anne to one side right now. We are just connecting to your energies. What a difficult time it is on your planet right now for many of you. We understand that we can feel the energy of how some of you are feeling right now on the planet. We totally understand to some degree. We like to say we totally understand, but we can't. We are non-human in a sense. We haven't gone through your Avengers. Not many of us have on this side. There are many that have been there and been teachers on your planet, and we are all standing together. As we are here in conversation, as many energies that are blending. That is why for the movement that Anne has as she moves backwards and forwards, it's the movement of many others that are coming together, like a funnel, as you imagine coming into the human vessel. So we are here to help. We are aware that many of you are going through difficult times, but the human always does go through difficult times. Your planet has gone through many cycles. We have been with you and bared witness to you many times of going through many cycles of change. There has always been many wars on your planet. There is nothing unusual about this at all. This is just the human and how it exists together on your planet. And yes, it is mostly through greed. And yes, there is not much change there through different times in space, especially if we go back through the many periods of history that you have lived upon your planet. This will always happen. This is part of the growth of the individuals. But sadly, many of those children and those vulnerable individuals get caught up in the war. But those who are not living in the war-torn countries, we're also aware of your own, would we say, issues or situations or problems. There are many words that many of you use. And as always, we will say that the reason those individuals are occurring those situations, maybe not the correct word to use, is to correct and to change your life destiny. You have to imagine that you here on this planet at this particular time are feeling into your senses, and we will try to help you to understand more. We are aware of the terminology of some individuals that speak in the tongue of words. Let's see what we can do. So the human who has the senses that you have acquired over time, you're feeling, you're seeing, you're hearing, the touch, and so forth and so forth and so forth, and the thoughts and feelings and the emotions that you, we would say, incur through the senses, the experiences that you go through. And yes, your mind does a good job of recording all the information, recounting the information, going back over time of what's happened to yourself. And many of you who do the past life work will also go back through past lives to have a greater understanding of yourself. We understand this. Sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's even more confusing. But we understand it's the process of understanding yourself, and understanding yourself is the most important thing while you're here. Why waste time in coming here on planet Earth at this particular time, not learning your lessons, going through situations, not understanding why you would repeat the same situation again and again. And believe me, many of us also stand here and think, why would you want to go on repeat again through the whole situation again? But we are understanding to some degree that many of you fear the change or feel that fear the movement. Let us help you to understand. The world that you live in occurs the 3D-ness of yourself. 3D meaning the dimension that you're living in. But what happens when you have this, some would call it spiritual awakening, but we wish to call it soul activation. What happens when that happens to yourself? It throws you off balance. It may be any situation, anything that you've incurred. Normally we find the parents that you are born into that causes enough issues, and many of you are trying to address them through your adulthood. That is why you've been born into that family in the first place, so that you encounter those issues or problems or those sticky situations or whatever occurs to you as an individual, or whatever wording you wish to use. You are brought into these soul pod families to have these issues so that you work through, so that you can then upgrade your nervous system, upgrade how you think, do the work on yourself, try to have a greater understanding of why you are here and why you would be born into this family in the first place. But many of you get caught up in the psychology of maybe beating yourself over the head or having an issue with an individual parent or family member or another relationship of some sort. You get stuck in the psychology, and this is the 3D dimension we talk about. 3D world that you live in that dimension is why, how, and why you think you have to pay your bills. And of course, we understand you have to pay your bills. We do not have heating issues here, so this is just a joke. We are trying to be as human as we can, but possibly we are failing to some degree. But we do have a sense of humor. We find you humans tend to listen much more when you hear a sense of humor. And we do not mean this in a way to offend. We are just trying to connect with you. So we understand you live this 3D world that you live upon. We understand that, and we understand also that you find it quite difficult to understand or to connect to your higher self, or to understand or to connect those who have passed over. We understand that you cannot see those who have passed over or passed or through the vow that you wish to call it. It's just another dimension that they live upon. We understand some people also are connecting to those on the other dimension within the other plane. We understand that because you are mastering that. We understand that you understand that loved ones who passed over, and you say death, death of how somebody once was maybe, not death that they have gone forever. Because remember, the soul consciousness is within each of you. It is how you wish to see the soul consciousness of yourself and others, and those who pass through the vow. You would also call this death, as we have said once before. But the 3D reality that you live upon and working in and out of the issues that you all are occurring right now, this is just about changing gear. This is about having that energy shift. This is about the awakening of the soul journey. It was in talks with Anne today. Yes, she's beginning, thank goodness that she started writing her book, and we started talking about the dimensions, and we started talking to her and giving her explanations about there is a movie that was created, The Truman Show, we believe. This is your 3D reality. See it as this. When you start waking up and realizing there could be something else, there could be something more in life, it is like The Truman Show. It is you stepping outside of the show and understanding there's actually more. The people who are the audience, or shall we say the beings who are the audience, are us. Trying to understand, why is it that you don't wake up? You don't understand your journey and you are stuck in this 3D reality. Now, some of you who are listening to this, some are in the group that are listening to this live now, some of you will hear this later on repeat, and on repeat, will understand the whole process, that something's happened in your life and you're starting to see things a little bit more differently than you did before. You may not have an understanding of How do you get through this process? And many of you humans can be a little bit lazy in the whole process, or it's painful. We do not understand this because we do not have the senses of the human being. You have the touch, the feel, the experiences, the emotional thought process. We do not have that, of course not. So many of you go through tricky times and it's uncomfortable and you are in pain. We do not just mean physical, we mean emotional heart pain. But this is part of your blueprint of who you are. It's the architecture of your soul. The whole process of any issues that arise for you in your life, maybe losing loved ones or the whole life is changed. It is about a shift. It's about an energy shift internally within you. Many of you have changed. We can see this. We can feel this. We're aware of the audience in front of us, and we can feel the changes, but we could also feel the shift in those who will watch this later on. Because where we are, we move in and out of different dimensions of time and space. And so do you. When many of you think back to your past, we're not talking past lives, but that is also something to think of. But when you think of your past and who you were once you were growing up, how you felt about the situation, even when the mind reflects now as the adult and looks back at a situation, you may only remember what you wish to remember or the shape and form that you remember it as. Was that really the reality? Not always. So you are shifted back into that past dimensional space. Some of you will not see that. Your brain, your mind has done a good job of recalling the information of the emotion which you felt at that given time. It's held on to that emotion of that thought process, and then hence creating the senses and your body feeling it. This is the same with the past life. If you allow yourself to do the work to go through a past life, you may see yourself in that past life and feel the emotions. What good is a past life to remember, you may ask? Well, in a past life, there may have been a situation that is repeating, and in this lifetime, it could be repeating too. There was a lady not so long ago that Anne saw that was stuck in a loop. During her session, Anne mentioned she could see that she had been in a situation where she had loved somebody, her soul connection, her soulmate. During a war and during the bombing, they were holding hands and they both passed through. So this individual person, this lady, wanted to jump back straight in to find her lover as her heart was broken. In doing so, her soulmate was not ready to return. In this lifetime, the lady, she was physical age of a 78-year-old woman that had been unhappy most of her life. She had married 4 times. Anne picked up that this woman had moved too fast forward, too soon, came back in. But her soulmate is around, but she needs to travel. Her soulmate is not in America, where she was born into, but her soulmate is in a different country totally. And that might be the reason why this lady that she saw did not like being American, did not want to stay in America and wanted to travel. This woman had also married 4 times previously, looking for the love of her life, and was very unhappy that she still hadn't found the love of her life. She felt as if there was something missing in her life. Thankfully, there is a loved one on the other side. Her father stepped forward and to assist her and said, yes, please sell the house, please go. Leave the house. You have done as much as you can for your children. Now it's time for you. So past lives can give you some information to the journey that it is that you wish to move on and move forward into. That is the only reason, really, to look back at them or to see why there are wounds that you are still carrying. Now, let us address the word in alignment. It's very similar to the fact of understanding yourself. Many of you are listening to this. We can feel your energy. Sometimes you go out of alignment, meaning there are emotions that happen that throw you off course. And this is normal for you as the human being. Many of your egos creeps in and judges you for what is happening. This is part of that journey, the soul journey, your soul quest. You are meant to come off slightly every so often to bring yourself back. That is what alignment is about. Alignment is about bringing back on course your heart center, and of course your heart center is your soul center. You are meant to be thrown off from time to time. There are meant to be those issues in your life so that you are doing the work on yourself. And we are aware of the discomfort. We are aware of how uncomfortable it can be for many of you. We hear it, we see it. We are based within the hallway of many souls. Some of you will hear it as the Akashic Records, whatever terminology you wish to give this. Every emotion that your soul has encountered in past lives, present life, and your future lives, it is held here in the blueprint of who you are. We have been sent here to help you to understand. The more restrictions you put upon yourself, you are not helping your soul on its quest. It is your journey. It is for you to feel what feels right for you. But again, we understand living on your planet in a 3D world or paying the bills, going to work. The 3D part of you is the ego, allowing that to control you to some degree. You have to fit and feel comfortable within yourself on your journey. The alignment is about bringing yourself back to your core, to see it as in your center part of yourself, your inner compass. This word has been used many times before. Your inner compass to navigate you, to keep you on course. It doesn't mean you go off course and worry and think, oh, I've gone off course. I'm no longer doing my meditation. I'm no longer spiritual. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No. Then you bring yourself out of alignment and you look at this and you go through your situation of discomfort. That means there is growth. See the discomfort in your life or in yourself as growth. You are witnessing your growth because you are changing. Many of you will be aware of this. It is in the moment that you recognize that there is change, how you feel differently about a situation. That is growth. That is not someone saying to you, you are no longer spiritual or you are weak. No. These are just 3D terminology and your ego kicking in from the psychology point of view. Remember, your brain is to protect you. It is there to hold on to those underlying subconscious experiences to keep you safe. Your brain is doing exactly what it is meant to do, but it's not meant to control you. And many of you, we like this terminology, get your knickers in a twist by the information that you hold on to. So just acknowledge what you go through, accept this is a way and a method that you are learning, that you're out of alignment for a short time, and this is fine. You are acknowledging that you are encountering pain, or there is a difficult point or difficult situation that you are incurring. We were always going to say, well, what will help you will connect to nature. That's why nature was created, so that it helps you to distract your mind so that you don't get your knickers in a twist. There are many of us here that are scratching our heads. Some haven't heard of this expression, but we find this quite funny. And we know when it's funny that it raises your vibrations and it helps you to connect more. And this is all that we wish for, is that you connect more to your energy of who you are. The energy of who you are is your soul consciousness. It's waking up to the fact that life is about to change for you, or life is changing for you, and you're witnessing the changes on your planet and you're witnessing the changes within you. And yes, this can feel uncomfortable, especially with those around you that do not want you to change or do not want you to grow, because if you change, they have to then get off their bottoms. And yes, we were going to use a different word, but we would be censored. So to get off your bottoms and to look at the fact that you have to also make your change. And of course, many of them around you feel uncomfortable and may say they aren't ready for change and may judge themselves. And then they go into their ego part of themselves, which is very much the 3D dimensional reality of who you are. When you start looking at your journey of your soul, you then begin that process. And many of you who are listening to us at this particular time have moved into the 4th dimension. Of course you have. You're working with a different dimension. There are many different dimensions. Many of you have got yourself caught up in the knickers in a twist, shall we say, or thinking, am I in 50, 40? Does it really matter? It's like gears on a car. You're just shifting. And many of you will have those moments you will feel exhausted and feel seasick and all the rest of it because you just shifted a gear. Now, when you start looking at what is occurring for yourself and you are creating your reality, you are aware that every thought is creating your reality. You are attracting everything into your life. This is a given. Then if this is a given, why not create the reality that you wish to create? See how you wish to see your life. See those changes. See who you wish to become. Have a greater understanding of why you could be here. Have a greater understanding of the connections of those around you that are helping to shift you out of that uncomfortable position. It is so easy for many of you to look at an individual and say and blame them. Actually, this whole process might be the fact that the teaching from the situation, or the emotional trauma of the situation, is actually trying to help you to shift, to see it in a different light. Is to look at life in a different way. It is to turn the mirror around and to look at oneself and to see, who am I? Do I recognize who I am? We see your soul through a kaleidoscope. We see many sides to you. You have many opportunities on your planet to change if you wish to do so. Not that there's anything wrong with you, you see, but we're aware that many of you want the soul upgrading, the resetting, because that's why many of you come on your planet right now. That is why many of you are reaching to discover more of how you connect to your higher self, to your guides. If you are listening to this, it's because you want to change. And by being your authentic self is by living with yourself and feeling comfortable internally within yourself. Every time a situation happens, come back into your heart and ask yourself, do I want to say yes to that person? Do I want to live that way? Do I want to do that job? Or shall I start creating some changes in my life? Then you become more of your authentic self. This is based more in the solar plexus. The heart center is more of your soul. Then you become more aligned in yourself. You attract the energy which is external from yourself that bounces into the internal part of yourself. It is a soul calibration. You have the opportunity to create that change while you're on planet Earth. When you address us, it is at the time when your soul has moved on and out of your physical self. We address those areas of yourself that hasn't quite managed to shift through them on your earth at this given time. We hope this helps. Okay. Oh, I feel like I've been in a car wash. Oh, okay. So while I was having, I want to call it a transmission because it feels like that transmission, it really does feel like it was a transmission. So I'm a bit like, oh, oh, okay. I'm gonna need some water. Okay. If there's any questions, they are still here. I'll do my best. But literally I feel like I'm in a car wash right now. So I'm just gonna settle my energy. Okay.